practice is all I'm saying. Hey dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, back from the brink, the wilds of Canadian healthcare to bring you yet another Fingerdoo review of one of the myriad Drag Race franchises. And this time, I'm very happy to say, I'm reviewing Season 3 of Drag Race Down Under. Now, I have to admit, I was not a fan of Season 1 of Drag Race Down Under. So much so that I didn't bother to review Season 2, I'm just saying. But I did watch Season 2, and I did enjoy it. Way more than Season 1. So, here I am. Fingerdoo's crossed that Season 3 has some fabulous surprises for us, because, well, I'm talking about it. Let's hope I remember how. Seriously. One thing that I have not forgotten how to do is Jorge, drink me. Oh, look at, ooh, stemware, fancy. Ooh, somebody's putting on an effort. There must be a workplace review coming up, I'm just saying. Ooh, what is that? A mojito martini? Or like a lazy margarita? I don't know. It's delish. It's delish. I'm not judging you, Jorge. So, one by one, the queens entered the workroom, and I have to admit that this was my first time meeting them. I don't know any of these queens. I didn't see the Down Under Meet the Queens video. To be honest, I actually was surprised that Down Under was airing this soon. For some reason, I was expecting it at the end of August. I'm so serious. But, ready or not, here they come. Because no one waits for idiots. First queen through the workroom door was 29-year-old Hollywood star from Sydney. Although, I'm guessing not originally because, well, she doesn't seem to have an accent. Am I the only one who noticed? Accent or not, Hollywood has only been doing drag for a little more than a year, but she is already a seasoned performer and singer who's toured the world in shows like Kinky Boots. I'm expecting the other queens to underestimate Holly's bravado as the confidence of youth. But then, well, 28. Next into the workroom was 25-year-old Ashley Madison from Melbourne. She's super cute and super knows it. Apparently, she's heard that Hollywood is a bitch. I bet Hollywood's heard the same thing about her. I thought Ashley looked super cute, although her crotch distracted me, and not in a good way. She seemed to be having trouble keeping her pants up, or talk about a crack problem. Next into the workroom was 25-year-old Floor from Auckland, New Zealand, and Guatemala. I like this queen right off the top, and not because of her hilarious reaction to being attacked by a fly. No, I love that she totally noticed that Ashley's pants were falling down and didn't say anything. That's called stealth, bitch. 26-year-old Ivory Glaze from Sydney, Australia was next into the workroom. I thought this queen was gorgeous. Ivy was glad to see Ashley Madison was there because apparently she gets booked by Ashley all the time, although this was the first time they'd ever met. Personally, I think the bigger thrill for Ivory was that her pants weren't falling down. Seriously! What was happening with Ashley's pants? It was like she was giving us a full Patsy Stone. Seriously. And I don't mean that in a sexy way either. I thought the 27-year-old Sydney native Amel needed to take a deep breath, or possibly stop. I don't know which, because she seemed flummoxed. She had multiple attempts at her own entrance. That's not a good sign. And then, this queen's claim to fame is being an in-demand fashion model, both on the runway and in print. So maybe that's as fast as her wheels turn. We're not friends. 26-year-old Ivana Drink from Auckland, New Zealand set a bit of a buzz when she walked through the workroom doors because, well, the other queens recognized her as Anita Wiglet from Season 1's husband. It felt like a few of the queens tried to get into Ivana's head by asking if she worried about being compared to Anita. Ivory Glaze. Personally, I think Ivana handled her greeting very well. She's a sweetheart, but how well she's going to do this season will have to be seen. I just loved Holly's comment, well, if Spanky Jackson can win, so can Ivana. I love you, Spanky! More than a couple of the queens were gagged to see 33-year-old Isis Avis Loren, veteran from the Melbourne drag scene, walk through the workroom doors, which, of course, makes me excited to see what this queen is going to bring to the race. I will say this, Isis has one of the best transformations of the season. It's flawless. On a side note, was anyone else surprised to hear Isis reveal that Ashley has a reputation for being a bitch? No. Next through the doors was 24-year-old Rita Menu, the dancing diva from Hamilton, New Zealand. What a name. With a name like that, I was surprised that none of the other queens had heard of Rita, but then she's only been doing drag for about a year now. A year? And she's already the dancing diva of Hamilton? Don't they dance in New Zealand? In complete contrast to the hoofer from Hamilton, 51-year-old Bump of Love from Melbourne, Australia needed no introduction. At 51, she's probably given each and every queen in that room a gig at one point in their careers or another. Now, this is my kind of drag queen. Life experiences galore and a wicked sense of humor to boot. I'm just going to say I picked Bumpa to win Drag Race Down Under Season 3 or to become my spirit animal. I'm not sure which. Last but not least, into the workroom is 31-year-old Gabriella Labucci from Ballarat, Victoria. This crocheted queen had me at fart cushions. Between that unique entrance to her choice of couture, you could just see the other queens dismissing her as they smiled right in her face. I can't believe they dissed her crocheted dress. Haven't they heard that Granny Couture is making a comeback? Like it was ever here in the first place. Gabriella had so many of the queens confused that they were already helping her pack her bags to become the season's pork chop. They just weren't feeling the needle art, blessed. But she made friendship bracelets for everyone, which is either incredibly delightful or oddly creepy. I'm not sure which. Then Rue arrived looking like she was about to paint someone's portrait on the bank of the Seine. That wasn't a pussycat bow, it was a full-on panther. Anyway, Rue announced to the queens that this season's first maxi challenge was to create a stellar Mardi Gras traffic-stopping pride float-worthy performance while performing an original verse to Rue's mega-hit mashup Super Queen and Sissy That Walk. There were mixed reactions. As the queens de-dragged, they assessed the room. I thought there would be more leering and discussing who the trade of the season was, but not Floor and Isis. They got right into who their competition was and who was filler. Falling into the filler category, as far as they were concerned, was, well, Rita Menu and Hollywood, because they'd only been doing drag for about a year. Okay, Hollywood and Amel took a moment to appreciate each other making it into the race. From what they say, there's not a lot of black queens down under, which I have to say breaks my heart. I hope that's changing as we speak. Regardless, Holly and Amel's lovin' didn't stop them from getting to the important things like, well, who the trade was. Amel was predicting Floor to be trade, but was reserving her final decision for after Floor removed her makeup. Coward. Then the queens got down to it. Writing lyrics seemed to be causing all kinds of conundrums for the queens. This was their first introduction to the judges, so they wanted the lyrics to be personal and reflect who they were, but it was still a Mardi Gras theme, and well, should that take the main focus for their solos? Ivory Glaze, for one, was excited for this challenge because she really likes writing lyrics. Well, that might be the case, but enjoying something doesn't mean you're going to be good at it. Something both Floor and Holly tried to imply. This clearly shook Ivory's confidence, especially after Holly read out her lyrics. They were good. Things didn't seem to improve for Ivory's confidence when, after a quick rewrite, she read her lyrics to Gabriella, who, well, thought she was complicating things by being too wordy. That seemed to calm Ivory down a bit. Then it was on to choreography, which the queens were responsible for on their own. Hell, there weren't even teams for them to break down into. No, it was just one big 10-queen free-for-all. What a hoot. Of course, no one wanted to step up and choreograph the number, but that seemed to boil down to the fact that most of these queens weren't strong dancers. Ivana stepped up, but the fact that no one seemed to know what a box step was didn't bode well. Needless to say, this was the uncoordinated leading the uncoordinated. I'm so serious. After the difficult choreography session, poor Ivory Glaze had an emotional moment with Isis. She confessed her stress and that she didn't want to go home already. It sounds to me like she had a strict upbringing where being the best was a starting point, not a goal. It's also sad to know that her mom knows she does drag, but her dad doesn't. Here's to poor, sweet Ivory and everyone who's going through the same thing. You're all fabulous. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Seriously. The next day in the workroom, Ivory shared how she let Floor and Holly get into her head where her lyrics were concerned. Holly didn't let Fragile Flower Ivory throw her off her game. She claimed her tunnel vision was keeping her focused. Although, that didn't seem to be the case as she and Amel rehashed the whole Ivory situation as they got ready. Even Gabriella couldn't let it lie. She took Ivory aside to apologize for anything that she might have said to Ivory that could have been misinterpreted as sabotage. Amel and Holly continued with their makeup. And then it was time for the main stage. I loved Rue's dress, but what was with that lighting? Just because this is season 3 of Drag Race Down Under doesn't mean we need to revisit OG season 1's lighting. Seriously. Michelle Visage looked like she was ready for a good time in her side pony braids. Reese Nicholson was looking freshly dyed and ready to criticize. And joining the judges this week was R&B superstar Diva Mahal. First up, the Maxi Challenge. This was fun. I thought all the queens did a good job considering. Right out of the gate, Hollywood took the stage by storm in her Terry Mugler biker corset and set a very high bar with her lyrics. Oh, bar, here's to Hollywood. Well done. Bumpa Love looked like she just got off a Mardi Gras float, but I feel like that sequin wig on her head restricted her movements a bit. Just me? Gabriella's performance and lyrics were fabulous, but I thought her outfit was a little lackluster compared to some of the other queens. Ivana Drink looked gorgeous in her Mardi Gras feathers. That queen beats a beautiful mug, eh? Seriously. Ashley Madison beats a beautiful mug as well, but who cares when she's wearing such an ill-fitting outfit as this one? Like her entry outfit, this one seemed to fit badly through the crotch. It looked too long and the bodice seemed to be fighting her through the performance. If she wasn't tugging her onesie back up into place, her unpadded boy nipples kept popping out and upstaging her. Something Rue noticed, and not in a good way. By the way, Boy Nipple was my drag king name in high school. Floor was another one whose looks screamed Mardi Gras pride, and her lyrics screamed, well, I'm not sure what they screamed. I don't speak Spanish. It was Spanish, right? Amel's lyrics were fun, but I thought her being dressed all in black was a little too dour for a Mardi Gras pride float performance. Rita looked cute from, well, the chin up, but I'm still not sure what she was wearing. I was expecting some big reveal. Hope Springs Eternal. I thought she looked beautiful, but her performance during her lyric was a little on the, well, underwhelming side, I'm sorry to say. I am going to go ahead and just say it. Ivory Glaze is just stunning. I don't think her lyrics were that bad. I just felt she lacked conviction in her performance. Being such a new queen herself, I'll bet she'll get a handle on that with more experience. But that's not doing her any favors today, I'm so serious. Bless. And then it was time for the runway. Category is Somewhere Under the Rainbow. And can I just say, I love the inclusion of the pit crew on the runway just standing there waving their big old flagpoles. It wasn't at all distracting. Isis Avis Loren was first in a custom leotard draped in a rainbow flag featuring the pink triangle. I thought she looked okay, but she wasn't stopping any shows in that outfit. I have to give Isis a finger meh. Ivana Drink was next and more or less wore the same thing as Isis, although I will say Isis wore it better, so finger don't for Ivana. Just saying. I loved Amel's runway, the graduation of the colors, the message, her makeup. It was all fabulous, if not a little too subtle. Still, Fingerdoo for Amel. Ashley Madison's idea of being under the rainbow was this ode to Vivienne Westwood. No offense to anyone, but I thought this looked cheap, like a Halloween costume version of a Vivienne Westwood dress. Fell flat. Speaking of flat, see what I did there? Ashley's boy chest threw her nipples back in the spotlight again, which was too bad. Hasn't this queen heard of straps? Rita Menu claims she was representing the gay men's flag. It was the gay men's flag? Well, if I were the gay men's flag, I would have been insulted. This was way too simple. Plus, the category wasn't flags. It was under the rainbow. I'm sorry, but I have to give Rita a finger don't. Seriously. Bumpa Love looked like she was representing the gay men's flag as well in all those blue and green feathers, but because this outfit involved feathers, and sequins, and such, I liked it way more than Rita, so I gave Bumpa a Fingerdoo. I'm a whore for sparkles. By the way, Whore for Sparkles was the name of my fringe play. After her entrance outfit, I thought it was very smart of Gabriella to wear a gown for the runway, yet she still kept her oddball attitude. I'd also like to point out that Gabriella wore a strapless number without padding, and nary a nipple did we see. Fingerdoo for Gabriella. I absolutely loved Ivory Glaze's outfit despite the sexy woman meeting a unicorn backstory barf. This was way more thought out than Isis or Rita's outfit, so Fingerdoo for Ivory. Hollywood Star's ode to the BLM and Black Panthers was fabulous. I had no problem giving her a Fingerdoo either. Last was Floor, and I have to say, I didn't hate this look, but it just seemed like a bunch of individual pieces plonked together. The mask itself put me in mind of something the makeup artist I'm Still Hungry would have created. Still, I had to give this look a Fingerdoo. Seriously. Then Ru announced that Isis, Ivana, Rita, and Bumpa Love were safe, and thankfully, they all frigged off backstage. Then it was time for the judges' critiques. Up first was Amel. Michelle thought she looked nervous during the performance. Ru thought Amel had great style, but was wondering why she was freezing up on the world's biggest stage. Amel boiled it all down to not trusting herself. Ashley was next, and right away we were knee-deep in Nipplegate. Michelle called her out on the nip slips during both the performance and her runway. I loved Ru's talk about stage directions. If someone asks you if you'd like to do something about your nipples, take the stage direction and say yes. Yes, I would. My nipples are too lazy to cause a commotion. Gabriella Labucci was an obvious favorite of the judges, although Diva thought her maxi challenge outfit could have been better, but she loved her performance and presence. Poor Ivory Glaze was next, and right away Michelle pointed out how nervous she looked through the performance, but all the judges just loved her runway. Ivory had a little bit of a breakdown on the main stage when Ru asked her why she did drag. Sounds to me like it all boils down to Ivory not liking herself much out of drag. She doesn't feel special when she's not Ivory, bless. It was a very touching moment, I'm so serious. Next up was Hollywood Star, who was the clear standout of the group. The judges couldn't say enough fabulous things about her. If I were any of those other queens, I'd have been scared of Miss Star, I'm so serious. Lastly was Floor, who the judges also seemed to like. Personally, I was just happy that when Ru asked her to take her mask off, that she had some makeup on. Can you imagine? Back in the workroom, the mighty had fallen awfully hard. Ashley was weeping over her nipples. That'll teach her not to wear a blouse. And poor Ivory was convinced that it would be her and Amel lip-syncing. Well, she wasn't wrong. And poor Amel. She felt like she was letting everyone down, poor thing. Back on the main stage, it was announced that Hollywood was the first Maxi Challenge winner of Season 3. Here's the Miss Star, seriously. And sadly, as expected, it was Ivory Glaze and Amel who had to lip-sync for their lives. 2 Men at Work's Down Under. Don't even get me started about queens lip-syncing to men singing, I'm just going to say. This had to be the most fairly matched lip-sync ever, though. These 2 queens sucked equally. Even Ivana clocked them at doing the same choreo. I mean, Ivory Glaze had a fair excuse. She's only been doing drag for a hot minute. But I expected a bigger bang out of Amel. She has more stage presence than Ivory, so I was expecting a bigger performance from her. But to be honest, the way they were performing, I thought they were both coming off as new queens. I was completely expecting another legendary Season 8 double sachet. But no. For some yet-to-be-revealed reason, Ru told Ivory Glaze to Shantae, and it was Amel who sashayed away, making her the pork chop of Season 3 of Drag Race Down Under. Here's to Amel, bless her heart. I hope that's not the last we've seen of her, seriously. So, what about you? Do you feel the right queen went home? Was it a true coin toss, or did one of them sparkle a little less than the other? And what about Ashley Madison? She's a beautiful queen who knows it, and probably doesn't get criticized off it. Will Nipplegate be her undoing, or will she be able to corral her talents and push up out of the hoi polloi? And speaking of the hoi polloi, is anyone blowing up your skirt so far? I'm loving Floor, Bumpalove, and Gabriella, although I do have to say that all the queens so far are intriguing me. I'm just going to go ahead and admit it that I'm looking forward to the rest of this season. And I look forward to you watching it with me. Now, before you go, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And while you're down there, check out my links in the description box for leaving a tip or do, getting your own Wilma merch in my Redbubble store, or joining the Fingerdoo family on Patreon. Until next time, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. Oh, throw another shrimp on that Barbie. I'm all down under.